to my channel. My name is Brittany. Excuse the noise, please. The washing machine is going behind me. I am trying to get everything prepped and ready for St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. And in preparation for that, I have these. So, basically, in this video, we are going to be going through my recipes for a kids version of Irish coffee cupcakes. Both cupcakes are the same base. They're both a chocolate coffee cupcake. The kids version is filled with a plain chocolate ganache and topped with Irish coffee creamer frosting. I did not use caffeinated coffee because of the fact that it's going for kids. I didn't want to, obviously I'd be giving them sugar. I don't want to also give them caffeine. So then for the adults, we have the same coffee cupcake base filled with a chocolate and Jameson ganache and topped with a Bailey's frosting, which I make these every year. I do tend to mix up the recipe every year because, well, not every year. For the first couple of years that I made this, I used the same recipe every year. And then last year I tried to make it here and it did not like the chocolate batter. So I did try a new one for this recipe. It worked, but we will discuss all of the ins and outs of that at the end of this video. So for now, we're gonna get started and I'm gonna show you how I make these. Let's go.
I started by measuring out the dry ingredients. 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, 3/4 cup of cocoa powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking powder.
Now I'm grabbing a big bowl and I'm going to pour in my sugar, my flour, my cocoa powder, and my baking powder and salt, and just mix all of that together. Now that that's all mixed up, I'm going to add in my 1 cup of coffee, 1 cup of oil. I used canola oil. The recipe says to use vegetable oil, but honestly, I've never noticed a difference between my oils and my cakes. So I'm gonna do what I want. And I'm going to add in 1 cup of milk, but because I only have fat-free milk, I'm going to also be adding in 2 tablespoons of butter. Now I'm just going to mix that all together. Now, 2 eggs. I'm gonna add these in one at a time. So far the batter looks really good. Only problem is, will it bake well? Cross your fingers. Now I'm going to add in the final ingredient for the cake, and that is vanilla extract. Just add 1 teaspoon of vanilla and mix that in. Now, the recipe seems to want you to use like a mixer. I never use a mixer for chocolate cake because it's so liquidy, you don't really need one, and you can end up over mixing your cake. So that is it. I am going to now start scooping this out. I filled my cupcake pans with liners. I have bigger ones as well, but I only can bake one tray at a time because my oven can be so temperamental. I just don't like to risk it because I did that last year and I had batter everywhere. It was horrible. Normally I would fill up my cups like 2/3 or like 3/4 of the way, but I'm going to only fill these up with half, just in case. Okay, so that's done, and I'm going to pop these in the oven.
Starting the ganache, measure out 10 ounces of chocolate chips and 1/4 cup heavy cream. Melt down the chocolate, then add in the cream. If it's too thick, add in a bit of regular milk. When it's the consistency you want, poke holes in the cupcakes and fill them up with the ganache filling. When I finished the non-alcoholic cupcakes, I added 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon of Jameson to the remaining ganache. To make the cream or frosting, I started with 1/2 cup of butter, 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 1/4 cup of coffee creamer, and mix that up. For the alcohol version, I used 2 cups of powdered sugar, 1/2 cup of butter, 1/4 cup of Baileys. And if that's too thin, you can thicken it up with 1 to 2 teaspoons of cornstarch.
And we are done. So, overall thoughts in terms of this recipe. There are a few things that I obviously changed, which you saw throughout the process of this. Things I would change in the future, I definitely would have made sure that I had whole milk. And I would have added baking soda because they're delicious. No question. They taste amazing. But texture-wise, they're a little more like a brownie. But other than that, they are perfect. They are great. I have tried one of each of these. Well, not really. So I tried one of these because, well, had to, just taste testing purposes. And it was amazing. A little less boozy than I would normally make them, but because of the fact that I was splitting everything up. If you do this and you're not making a children's version, you're doing just for the alcohol version, my advice would be use 3 tablespoons of Jameson for the ganache, and then stick with the 10 ounces of chocolate and the 1/4 cup of heavy cream. Or if you get those tiny bottles of Jameson from the liquor store, just pour the whole thing in. That's fine. Just no need to measure. That's how I normally do it. But because I had put some of the ganache in here, I measured it out to be a tablespoon, and 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon, which was too much. And then when I added in the extra chocolate, it kind of varied the flavor, but it's also there. It's just not as pungent. So it depends on if you want it to kick you in the face or not. Normally people seem to want it to kick them in the face. I prefer them like this, so I don't know. We're gonna see how it goes. But overall, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more of me, subscribe. And I will see you guys soon. And happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye. Thanks for watching.